Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR today, Wednesday morning, October 27th, 2021. The man they call Meathead, and the guy who wants to take all the money in the world and turn it into Thomas Tender, Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Absolutely. That's just the, my charitable contribution to society. What can I say? I'm just that kind of guy. Good morning, Esther.
I don't know if that's a compliment and if it's a derogatory statement. I don't know if I should turn all your Thomas Tender into Stanley Nichols. I mean, I don't really know what I should do.
Oh, you got plenty of options there.
Got plenty of options. All right, Matthew, tell us about our friends at bars and what they wear.
Oh, you can't leave your home without bumping into somebody wearing collar and elbow. It has become the fashion staple of this fall season. And if you want to be like all the cool kids, and here's the thing, even if, the weather turns a little bit cold outside, that doesn't mean you have to put your short sleeve collar and elbow stuff, out to pasture for a season. No, just wear that under your longer sleeve garments. And then when you get that sensation of pride and you want to show the world what you're wearing, you just pull up your shirt and reveal that you got some collar and elbow on that you can purchase at collarandelbowbrand.com. Save 10% with promo code LindaK, LINDAKAY. And you'll be all stacked for winter, fall. Some people call it autumn. You can call it that. Spring, summer, the in between spring and summer, in between summer and fall, all the seasons.
I think we've come up with an idea. Matthew, off air, we were talking about how this shirt thing came up where somebody approached your sister and said, "Do I know about collar and elbow?" and just whipped his shirt up in the air and showed what he had underneath. I want you guys to, whenever you're at GLCW shirts, if you see Linda K, make sure you show her your collar and elbow shirts, especially if you're using the promo code Linda K at collarandelbowbrand.com. I want everybody to show Linda K what you're wearing as far as collar and elbow. What do you think of that?
And honestly, I almost like something over the collar and elbow and then the reveal of lifting the shirt up to reveal collar and elbow. Or
you like pulling out the big reveal.
Yeah, you could do the Superman thing. You know what? Because you care about your collar and elbow and you don't care about other clothes, get you one of them Clark Kent button-down the front shirts. And then when you feel like the moment is right to make that big reveal, just rip that thing open to reveal your collar and elbow.
Matthew, back in my old days when I was doing, very classy porn, that was the nickname for my friend, was the reveal. I'd like to show everybody the big reveal.
Yeah, no, I remember you discussing that.
Yeah, well, let's move on and discuss wrestling stuff. First off, the Peacock Network, while they have WWE as their main wrestling product, have added independent product as well on there. There is now talk that there is ICW and WXW content up there that you can see on the Peacock Network. ICW Fight Club 194 was launched onto the platform on October 23rd. So, Matthew, I know you were looking for other content, wrestling-wise, to head to the Peacock. Here we go.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I know you mentioned that tonight, but I caught it the other night when I hopped on the cock and, saw they had some new stuff there.
Matthew Thomas.
Yeah, no, I was on there watching the new Halloween movie, and then I just kind of shifted over to the WWE stuff.
Watched The Walking Dead, right?
I have.
Okay, does Jamie Lee Curtis remind you of anybody from The Walking
Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's uncanny.
I'm just saying, when I saw those promos, I was like, Carol's from The Walking Dead's in Halloween? Wait, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. Because she went from the short hair to the long white hair.
Yep, 100%.
All right, well, Peacock adding more wrestling content. So let's also talk about a big event coming to the Wisconsin area, which is making national news, actually, folks. Blizzard Brawl, BlizzardBrawl.com. Adam Scheer, formerly known as the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, is tweeted out. He said that, look, since I'm not going to really be taking any other bookings the rest of the year, might as well come and check me out in my backyard in Wisconsin. Blizzard Brawl, Adam Scheer, the Titan, formerly known as Braun Strowman, will be in the main event, teaming up with EC3 in a tag team match against Jake Something and Rohit from Impact Wrestling. Matthew, have you seen the card for Blizzard Brawl yet?
I have. Very impressive. And I mean, you can't stress enough the moniker that Blizzard Brawl typically goes by, the WrestleMania of the Independents. I don't think it's ever rang truer than this year.
Yeah, other matches to happen. GLCW Heavyweight Champion Backwoods Brown will be taking on WWE/F legend Val Venus. Hello, ladies. And he's going to be getting a title shot. From Impact Wrestling and from OVW, Joe Doring will be taking on Cash Flow of OVW. Also, we've got in a match Joey Avalon, big name here in Wisconsin, taking on Shannon Moore, a member of the Dilly Gaff. You know what Dilly Gaff stands for, right?
Oh, everybody knows what Dilly Gaff stands for.
All right, Matthew, go ahead and tell us what Dilly Gaff stands for.
No, it's do I really...
Does it look like I give a...
Oh, yeah, I got the same. I got the main part of it.
I was going to say falafel, but...
Yeah, exactly.
In action will be the Gun Club, Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn. I got to assume that might be lined up for a tag team match with former senior intern Cal Hero. We'll have to see how that works out. Women's NWA former champion, AWA superstar currently, Serena Deeb, the woman of 1,000 holds, will be on the show. Appearing also will be Deborah. D'Lo Brown will be appearing as well. There is more announcements to come, but BlizzardBrawl.com, again, the news of Braun Strowman, formerly Braun Strowman, now Adam Scheer, appearing on the show is making the national news.
Oh, outstanding card. And I think I saw the other day where you might know who these guys are because you're from that area, but it looks like there's also been a sausage company that's going to be there in attendance. Did you see that?
No, but tell me about your sausage.
Yeah, no, it would look like a really reputable sausage company that I'm assuming going to have, concessions and whatnot to sell. I'm a big sausage fan, man.
All right, the puns aside, tell me what you saw.
No, you have to go back and check the announcement, but it was like Saturday, I think there was an announcement that there's going to be this sausage company, and I tend to overdo it sometimes on sausage because what happens, especially with ground sausage, is I basically my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and then I eat too much. But I'm looking forward to hopefully practicing sausage moderation and being able to enjoy some of that without going too crazy.
Again, you're planning on making the trip, right?
That's what I'm aspiring to.
Okay, well, we'll hopefully have to see Matthew Thomas. Really, one of the main sponsors for every year at Blizzard Brawl is David Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. That moniker, I think you said you saw it on the side of the roads in other states, right? One call, that's all?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that actually originated here with Mr. Gruber. But more sponsors, more matches, more appearances to be announced. We've got, I'd say about November, December. So we've got about 5 weeks left until the big show. We're coming up on November 1st, next Monday. So, and remember, November 1st is actually Movember 1st. Matthew, you going to try to grow a mustache this year with me?
Yeah, I might let you handle that, man.
Handlebar it? Thank you.
Yeah, handlebar it, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about NXT's Halloween Havoc from last night. Again, I told Linda this yesterday, and for those that were listening yesterday, I feel we're defensive when it comes to some of the WWE product because we instantly feel like, the show just, and we want to say something positive. We want to say, hey, I enjoyed it. We want to say, you know what, this was enjoyable. NXT Halloween Havoc was tough to watch. There were some great matches, right? But it just wasn't up my alley. Overall, your thoughts before we get into running some of the matches on.
Yeah, no, I'm going to diverge from you. I think by far and away, this was the most enjoyment I've had out of the NXT product since they shifted gears to 2.0. I really think every match delivered, and the stuff with the haunted house and this, that, and the other. I mean, it was a throwback to last year. I don't want to see it every week, but this was their first mega card since they have done that brand split. And I think there were some excellent matches and some overall great outcomes that came out of last night.
Well, really, the theme of last night was title change.
Yeah.
Right? And we thought we were going to have it at the end. We're going to go down the matches in just a bit here. But first off, the opening match was a Scareway to Hell ladder match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane taking on Indy Hartwell and Persia Perota versus the champions, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. Great spots all throughout this match. Again, I thought this was a great match, but the winners of the match and new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions is going to be Toxic Attraction.
There were some outright rough spots in this match. I mean, very, very vicious ladder spots, more so than I've seen in a long, long time. And, hopefully everybody walked away from it. Everybody looked like they, were able to complete the match there. I was concerned a couple of times based on, the way the stuff looked and came across. But what I'm also thinking as I'm watching this too, how many of these competitors have been in a ladder match before? And it's one of those things that, you can run through the spots.
Heel?
Yeah. I think that's the only one that I've seen on the brand. And I mean, yeah, I guess in the independents and stuff, non-televised, but my goodness, these were some very, very high spots. And it was a very, very impressive match. Glad it seems like everybody was all right there. I thought it was an absolute barn burner to start the show. And what I was hoping would happen happened here. I think Toxic Attraction is probably, you really don't have a lot of women's stables in the industry at all. And I think this is something NXT has going for it that not a lot of other people.
No, we've had them.
Yeah. Are running with. And my goodness, let me add this to this name and this presentation. It's such a better stable than Team Bad or Team blah, 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 or Team such and such of the NXT call-ups when they brought them Charlotte and Becky and everybody up to the main roster that time. This is as far as WWE goes, this is top of the line female talent stable.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's move on to the cinematic match, if it was a match at all, but it's not really a match. I just thought it was fun, to be honest with you. And zombie referee there, Johnny Jigsaw. I love the little call to Johnny Jigsaw, even though he didn't have his face painted. But Johnny Jigsaw says he home aloned Dexter's house, which we're going to talk about the whole thing here now. If he home aloned the house, what does Dexter's house look like without all that?
Yes.
Because Johnny at the end said, "Dude, your house is a little too creepy for me." Johnny, you did that.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm happy to see Johnny and Dexter,
they're
singing
getting
Kumbaya. Yeah, they're getting along great. So, and this was more Dexter than we've had on TV in a while. So I was happy to see this.
Dude, the highlight of the night to me is how, as Dexter Loomis, can you hold your stuff together when you have Mellow Hayes honking his nose? Remember, he reached back and he felt it, dude. He gave him a honk on the nose.
But he always does it, man. And I mean, whether it's this or whether it's in front of a live audience, that guy never breaks. I mean, that is that man has some freaking acting chops.
We get a notification from Grayson Waller, who's dressed like Dracula, that LA Knight is running late and Waller's going to replace him as the host. Dude, as the host, they were only on for 2 segments. Yeah. Chucky was on for about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Who's the host, really?
Yeah, the whole host thing did not do much here. I mean, it was entertaining last year when it was Dexter Loomis. Like, that was...
No, last year was Shotzi Blackheart.
Oh, it was Shotzi, wasn't it? Yeah, because Dexter had his thing with Cameron Grimes last year. That's right. That's right. You know what? It was the build-up to it last year that Dexter was drawing the pictures, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe Gacy took on Malik Blade. Joe Gacy even has its safe space, all that other stuff in his intro video now. Joe Gacy's a star.
Yeah, he is. One of the things that I enjoy the most each week on NXT. This is really well done.
The Diamond Mine Open Challenge. It was NXT Cruiserweight Champion Roderick Strong against Odyssey Jones. Roderick Strong wins, but Odyssey Jones didn't look bad.
No, not at all. I mean, he is one of those. He looks very, very believable week after week, and I think he's going to be somebody that is going to be that upper card level for a while. Yeah.
The Creed brothers did interfere, but Jones yanked them in from the apron, then sent them right back to the floor, and then Strong took advantage of the distraction. All right. In the background, let's talk about the Halloween segment. This was typical WWE, where, like if they do Christmas or Halloween, whatever, on Raw or SmackDown, all the B and C talents are put into a scene, dressed up in costume, and they just are hanging out.
I know we talked about it last week, but I want to reiterate here. It seemed like Kyle O'Reilly just kind of faded into the background in this segment. I was a bit surprised to see
Couldn't
him
even tell
back
where
there.
it was,
Yeah.
honestly, unless he was standing next to, who he's working with right now.
Yeah, he was back there with his buddy that he goes and hangs out in the woods with. So that
Who's
was
dressed as Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from this, was the fact that that's where O'Reilly is at right now.
Yeah, and I don't mean this as a disrespect, but when I say B and C talents, your main events, the ones that are working matches, will not be in this.
No,
this were a Raw or SmackDown. Your top level talents will not be in these segments. Yeah. And it's not me telling you that they're B and C talents. It's WWE telling you they're B and C talents.
100%.
Spin the wheel, make the deal. It's a trick or treat street fight for the NXT Women's Championship, but the pinfall had to be in the ring. Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. Mandy Rose tried to pin her in the chair with the kendo stick, holding her down. Creative spot. I absolutely loved it. But at the end of the night, Mandy Rose gets the pinfall victory in the ring. She's the new women's champion. Fatal Attraction. Did I say Fatal Attraction? Toxic Attraction. Have all the women's gold.
And another very physical match here. I really like this new version of Mandy Rose's character. We talked about it last week, this being the reset that potentially she needed. And her persona, her in-ring physicality in a match such as this, compared to what she was doing on the main roster, I mean, it is a very, very much of a reset. And there were this was a very newsworthy show, a very newsworthy 2 hours with all of the title changes that came out of this.
Yep. So let's talk about that. There was a mystery woman who had her face covered as well. So, I was wondering, because the camera kept showing me the back, the side, whatever. I'm like, hey, I need to see. There's a black veil over the front as well. Very nice. This woman unmasks herself, has pink hair, and it's Dakota Kai.
Yeah. A short main roster run, it seems, but I thought it was Undertaker at first, so I was a little disappointed. But
yeah, a female Undertaker at 5'3". Okay.
Wouldn't that be a shock there? That would get the world talking, having the Undertaker interfere in an NXT women's match.
I thought, again, I was predicting a Chucky run-in for the main event. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Lumberjack Old Lantern match for the NXT Tag Team titles. Imperium taking on MSK. There is talk that MSK has been getting booed as the face team in the arena. Did you hear it?
I have. Have you heard the reasoning behind that, apparently?
Yes, and I'm not particularly a fan of that. You can't have just a couple people controlling a building.
Yeah. Now, it's amazing that, you assumed it was a lot of regulars, but it's very...
are we talking Impact tapings with Thing 1 and Thing 2?
I read a description of how the tickets are allocated. I don't know if there's much truth behind it, but yeah, there's a lot of consistent hangover there from week to week. And yeah, there are more and more seems to be substantial reports that it's a kind of a family affair. It's a family affair.
The winners and new NXT Tag Team Champions, Imperium. We've gotten title change, and title change. 3 for 3. Imperium, the new Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great match. I don't like the lumberjack stipulation. Anytime you have a lumberjack match, it's really, to me, it's always distracting. And maybe that's
because the lumberjacks, not because we're saying it, but the lumberjacks are B and C talents. You know who the lumberjacks were? Everybody in the Halloween vignettes.
Now, I think you really missed the opportunity here to actually have them all come out dressed as legitimate lumberjacks. That'd have been a different story. I'd have approved of that.
We were waiting for the debut of the Problem, Sefa Fatu. And he's coming out now as, say his name again, because I had problems pronouncing it the last time.
You mean Sefa Fatu?
No. Solo. What's his last? It's like Solo Sikoa. There it is. Solo Sikoa. So
Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, Solo is a member of the Bloodline. Solo is a Uso. He's a son of Rikishi, and all that relation. Solo looks good, and I think that they can do something with him.
Yeah, and I think there's probably pretty easy money in saying a future NXT champion.
Sure. This is also where we finally got to see LA Knight What did this guy do? What has he done wrong?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, not even, I was thinking to myself when we saw the get up of the other guy who ended up being the host, I'm like, this would be kind of rough to see LA Knight as this. And sure enough, he comes out later dressed in the same garb. My goodness, what is going on there?
Is it a thing where, remember back in the day when somebody like a Chris Jericho would debut in WWF and they ran him through, again, nothing against X-Pac or Road Dogg, but they ran him through 6 months of working matches with those guys? Is that the thing? Is that what we're doing here? Is we're making sure that he earns his spot? Booker T worked a lot of low-level matches as well when he came in and had to earn his spot. Are they making LA Knight do that? Because honestly, you don't have time with LA Knight. LA Knight's not a 21-year-old kid, right? I mean, you've got Braun Breaker, who might be 21 years old, in the main event. You got LA Knight, who looks like a champion, and you got him dressed up like Dracula.
And if you are, it's a horrible business decision, and it's cutting your nose off to spite your face, because there are very few people in that company that can handle a mic like he does. And that is one of your top tier talents all around right there in that company. And if you're doing that move, you are shortchanging yourself and you're shortchanging the product.
Main event time. It is Braun Breaker taking on Grandpa Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa. And I really thought, they kind of swerved us a little. I really thought with him tweeting out, you're going to see the end of the black and gold brand and the beginning of the NXT 2.0. I'm like, well, that just means you're going to get rid of the last hardline guy and now put on a new champion. Well, your winner in a match, still champion, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, and I didn't know if it was going to go that way, and I like their booking decision and the fact that you started off with 3 title changes, and you could very easily have believed this was going to be a 4th one right there. Breaker looked good. It took everything that Ciampa had to finish him off there.
Wade Barrett really covered him in commentary. It says, is that a fatigue thing? He's not been in this realm before where he's had to go this long, this hard, and did fatigue have him slide off the second ropes?
Yeah.
Good cover.
No, absolutely. And a little bit of a surprising finish, actually, because I did not think Ciampa was going to retain. But, they are not through telling that Ciampa as champion story. So this gets intrigue for where they go to from here.
Well, they're not going to a takeover that we've been announced yet because the pay-per-view lineup you heard had been announced, and none of them are takeovers.
And we talked about it, it's kind of hard for us to imagine right now this current incarnation of NXT, going to a takeover. Now, I think after last night, my opinion changes a little bit on there, but that whole statement was more of the presentation than anything else. Not the talent, not the actual match quality that they can produce, but just the presentation. It's hard to imagine them, and maybe it's because we always associate the takeover with the black and gold color scheme, and you're trying to imagine them lighting any other building the way they light their current studio. But very good point. Nothing on that announced pay-per-view card for takeovers, huh?
So let's jump off of NXT real quick. I want to ask you because we haven't talked about it yet. SmackDown debuted their new roster. Raw debuted their new roster. How are you feeling so far, especially Raw from Monday night with the 4-way ladder match for the number 1 contendership for the WWE Championship?
Thought it was a good match. I thought both SmackDown and Raw. SmackDown less so than Raw, but for the most part, we are back into predictable WWE main roster programming. You have that. Big E opened the show. You have your 4 people that are going to vie for it. I mean, honestly, you're looking at this match. Big E, super over babyface. You've got the 4 competitors in that where there's only one heel. And the outcome of that final match there, I think it was fairly obvious that, you're going into Big E, Seth Rollins there. And WWE back in the same, you've got 3 hours to fill. So your opening segment, we have interviews throughout the show with all the competitors in the main event. We have the main event. Here's where I am confused and what I think just is one of the main holes with the title switch. And I know you and Linda talked about the fallout with Charlotte and Becky.
Yeah.
Beyond Becky, Bianca. So this is your season premiere. You're switching our feud down. Bianca. Let's go over to Raw. Your feud, Becky Bianca. What's changing? We're starting off this brand reset with more staleness as far as I'm concerned. And it's just main roster WWE has got, I mean, it's the same formula that they've gone to for decades, and it looks different now because you've got another viable option that's doing things a lot different than they're doing it. And I get it. Here's the thing. AEW, it's a new company. A lot of these matchups in AEW you have not seen before. But how many weeks in a row are we going to get Mustafa Ali and Mansoor? WWE consistently presents the same stuff on a weekly basis, week in, week out, no stakes. I mean, it's just the booking leaves a lot to be desired right now, and I was very hopeful for a reset on both brands. And I think there's a certain attitude there of, okay, the other company's doing their thing. We're acknowledging it if we shift our booking strategy, if we shift our presentation. Now, except forget about 2 weeks ago where you're shifting time slots and all that. But yeah. I think week to week, there's a hesitancy to shift gears for fear of acknowledging anybody else's competition. But man, I feel like there is the week to week stuff is it's stale in so many regards. WWE, they still manage to, in most cases, hit on all cylinders when the pay-per-view comes around. Crown Jewel last week, I think, was the best presentation they've had in Saudi Arabia. They did a great job with that. But the weekly getting there, and here's the thing too, Meathead, next pay-per-view, we don't have one in, I guess, Survivor Series, right? So
Survivor Series is next, and then the next one is day one.
So one of two options here. If we go across brands and have champions fight champions, which has been the
Becky
the
said
formula,
that if she left the ring. I'll see you at Survivor Series.
Then you have a show with potentially great matches, but you have no stakes. You have no titles up in the air. So you're basically going a month of booking that. Or if you do a different formula and you go Rollins Biggie, well, guess what? Rollins Biggie is set right now. So you've got another month of that. So you've got a month of, can they coexist as a tag team or this, that, or the other? So
that's not going to happen. There's no way. Rollins is a true heel and Biggie's a true face.
And that's the difference that, I'm seeing with AEW there. Yeah, we know we're getting Hangman and Kenny Omega, but there is so much stuff that's unique week to week. We don't feel like we are in this, this standby mode, just waiting around to the next pay-per-view.
Wait, you don't feel like there's 17 people sitting outside the ring waiting for a over-the-top rope move?
Oh, that happens occasionally, but for the most part, everything. So I'll just sum it up with this: everything in AEW right now feels very dynamic week to week. For the most part,
I see what you did there. That was dynamite.
I didn't even think about that. See, the stuff happens subconsciously, but WWE week to week, it feels very, very much static until we get to the monthly pay-per-view. You've got the first show coming off a pay-per-view, SmackDown last week, Raw this week, that you've got different things up in the air. But for the most part, man, it's 3 weeks or so of WWE just filling time till you get to your next show.
Fair enough. All right. Hey, speaking of the next shows tonight, we've got Dynamite back live. Matthew, we talked about it a little bit with Linda yesterday, how it is now live in the mountain area and in the Pacific area and in the Central and in the Eastern. Real quick before we go, tell us, what was your experience watching Dynamite? Was it on a tape delay?
No, it was always live here. So I was confused by that whole thing. Now, they announced last week on Dynamite because I was really excited because I heard him say, "Oh, Mountain Time, they're mentioning my time. Oh yeah, shout out to me." And I wasn't paying attention to what the announcement was. Well, apparently the announcement initially was it was going to air at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. So my viewership time for Dynamite would have been 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Thankfully, somebody stepped that back in the last few days, so we are going to get it. It's 6 p.m. our time. But yeah, no, it's always been live for me. Now, I do know it might potentially vary based on your cable companies, because that was my experience the one year that I had a different cable company here. If you remember, you and I were doing the shows, I was getting Raw on the West Coast feed. And so, basically for a year, I was not able to watch Raw live legally.
Legally. All right. Well, hey, that is it for Wednesday. We got Dynamite tonight. We'll talk all about it tomorrow morning. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.